Hey, what's up, guys? Smoldar here, and I had just finished beating at least one playthrough with one of the main protagonists, Star Ocean 5, not 5, Star Ocean 6, actually, the Divine Force. And I chose Raymond Lawrence as my primary protagonist. You can choose Leticia Asirius, I think is her last name, as the other character, and there are some differences depending on who you play as. So I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. I'm trying something new with having some game footage running in the background. This is very early on. This is within the first 30 minutes of the game. I'm just going to kind of have that running in the background. You can see skill trees and stuff going on. So I want to talk about a few things with this game. And then I'll give my overall thoughts on how I would rank the game. Gameplay-wise, I think this game has incredible gameplay in terms of combat. The movement is very fluid as well, running around in the open world. The UI could use some work. You can see it kind of like right here. Those are the skill trees as well. The skill trees are pretty basic, but they're functional. They do their purpose. Typical JRPG stuff. There's a lot of options, a lot of things to go. So when we talk gameplay, we're talking mostly combat. Especially in a game like this. If you played previous Star Ocean games or Tales of games, very, very similar combat styles between those two franchises. This is the best it's ever been. Star Ocean 5 is actually pretty good with the combat as well. They both have seamless combat between running in the open world or running in the world and into combat. There's no loading screen to a battle arena. It's just, you just go straight to combat, and as soon as you're out of it, you just keep going, which is amazing and perfect. I think that's how all of these games with real-time combat need to be. If it's a turn-based, that's one thing, but if it's not, if the combat is real-time, it needs to be seamless. It just feels so much better. One of the only things I would say is that I wish you could prioritize characters, and honestly, there may be a way to do this, but I could never figure this out in my playthrough, is how to have the AI of the other characters have them prioritize certain skills over others, or certain abilities over other abilities. I'm harkening back to Final Fantasy XII, where it has the system of, if somebody in your party's HP is below 70%, cast heal spell. Otherwise, if they're not, then cast this, and then do this, based on the situation of what's going on is what they'll do. I would like to see more games do that. To me, I think that is the direction it needs to be going, and unfortunately in this game I wasn't able to figure that out. I could at least make it so they only do certain abilities, but aside from that, moving from gameplay, let's talk about the characters of the game. I'm not going to go into too much detail about which ones. I just will say that for the most part, all of the characters are very fleshed out. All of their stories are pretty good. Up until maybe kind of like towards the latter, I don't know, quarter of the game, some of the characters seem kind of forgotten. I noticed. I mean, they'll every now and then they'll say something and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right, this character's in the game." Even if you were using them in your primary party, right? But otherwise, I felt the characters are pretty good. The voice acting to go along with it, it was serviceable. I played with English voice acting, and you know, it did what it needed to do. Not AAA quality, but you know, got the job done. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't like Star Ocean 3 level of English VA. Now, while we're looking at this menu here, I do want to talk about one thing that absolutely is horrible about this game. And you go on it anywhere on Reddit, you look at the Steam page as well. If you're looking at the PC version, everybody's going to complain about this, and that is the throughout this game, characters will leave their party, then they'll rejoin the party, things like that. And for example, one of the reasons why that may happen is if both Raymond and Leticia split up. And if they split up, they're not going to be split up by themselves, so some other characters will stay with them. Now, they're no, okay. they won't be playable. Like if I'm playing Raymond, Leticia, and let's just say you can see Albert. Albert is no longer playable as well. When they come back and are playable, their accessories are unequipped. I have to re-equip their gear. I understand why they did that, so I have access to their gear when I don't have them in my party. But I would much rather have it to where it default stays on them and I can remove it if I wanted to. Another thing too is that there's a really cool minigame in this game called Esoa or something like that. It's basically like a chess minigame, and all of the pieces are also accessories. While the minigame is cool, this means you're going to have a gajillion accessories, and the sorting is pretty convoluted. There's ways you can sort by a lot of different metrics, but it's not easy to really cycle through. If anything, I'm scrolling, man. I'm scrolling through accessories, which kind of sucks. So that could have used a lot of work. That's probably one of my biggest complaints with the game, really, is the fact that accessories get removed off of characters if they leave the party. And I'm not counting. So when you go into cities and towns and stuff, your party always leaves. They always leave, and then they so you can talk to them like in towns, and that's how you do private actions. So you can kind of follow through with their personal stories and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like if they actually leave the party for a particular period of time and you can't play as them, all of their accessories are unequipped. And that sucks. Biggest complaint of the game, by far. So hopefully that gets fixed. Another thing is also when it, just bringing it up because we were talking about SOM, the minigame, when you challenge people and you beat them, there is no way in the game to know what rank you are. And there's no way in the game to know who you've beaten, because you only get the reward one time, only off of beating a character one time. The only way to know what rank you are is by beating an opponent who is one rank above you, because that's the only way to rank up. It's not like this. I believe it's like beginner, advanced, expert, and whatnot. So let's just say you're rank 1, the only way to get to rank 2 is by beating rank 2 while you're rank 1. You can't challenge rank 3. You have to go in order. But like, let's say you're rank 2, and you don't know you're rank 2, and you just come across, well, there's a rank 5, there's a rank 6, there's a rank 1. Oh, I can play the rank 1. Oh, I played this person, but I didn't rank up. Should be a way to know what rank you are, as well as have you have already beaten them. Anyways, it's not as important because it's a minigame. There's a really cool looking monster, the Chimera. Just a standard mob, by the way. I really need to learn how to do video editing. But, and I apologize, no game sound. I was having issues with capturing sound. Anyways, let's talk about the story a little bit. Story is serviceable. And if you've played any of the other Star Ocean games, which I've played all except number 4, I never played 4. I heard it was pretty bad. My favorite Star Oceans is 2 and 3. I did not like 5 at all, minus the gameplay, the combat specifically. I thought that was very good. The story in this game it's okay. It feels, they did a good job at making it feel very standalone. Whereas if you've never played any other Star Ocean game, you'll be totally fine with this game, but there's some nods to things. This game is actually only about like 20 years after 5 in the timeline. So there's actually some references to some things from 5, some references to things from 2 and 1 as well. Because in the timeline, this game is the second furthest along. The only game that's further along is Star Ocean 3. So if you played Star Ocean 3, you know that's the be-all, end-all, right? Although it would be interesting if they made a sequel to 3. It was okay, you know? It was enough to keep me interested. There was definitely a couple lull periods, but once things start picking up, they pick up. And once it got to, like, I want to say, like, the last, like, third of the game, I was in it. I was like, I really gotta finish this. I gotta know what happens. I gotta know everything plays out. So they did a really good job in that respect. But in the first half, there's definitely some boring periods of the game. you know, and it's like, do I really care about what's going on? Not really, you know, maybe. Sound design in this game is really good. The music is fantastic. A lot of throwbacks to the older games. I wouldn't say it's like, oh my god, the music is just like blowing everything out the water like the 7 remake or anything, but it's definitely not bad. I have 0 complaints about it. And I'm kind of like brushing through. I have like a little thing on the side about what I wanted to talk about. Content in the game. The game has a lot of content. It took me about a little over 40 hours to beat the game in a first playthrough. I did not do all the side quests. I wanted to say I did about 70%. Some of them I couldn't figure out. I actually am a fan of the fact that the game wasn't super handholdy on how to do some stuff. And there's a lot of side quests that are, you won't even get access to them unless you do other ones first, and there's no way to know. I like that. I like the game not telling me everything I need to do. You need to do A so you can do B, therefore you can do C, and that's the only way you can actually even attempt to do D, or something like that. I like that the game is a little more, you know, you gotta figure it out on your own a little bit. There's a lot to do. I got access to the post-game dungeon. Very challenging. There's also some other very challenging areas in the game. There's a lot of bosses. A lot of places to explore. Many cities, many towns. A lot of open areas. A lot of secrets as well. So, in content-wise, this game is very good. If you're a fan of JRPGs, if you're a fan of Star Ocean, if you're a fan of even semi-open world RPGs, maybe even more on the Western side, Western RPGs, I think you should at least give this game a shot. There is one caveat that I will say. And when it comes to the game, my biggest complaint, as I talked about, was the accessory thing. This game does have FPS issues. I played this game on the PS5 on performance mode, and there was a significant number of areas where it was very obvious the game was chugging, and my FPS was dropping well below 50, probably even in the 40s. Even if, for the most part, the game was running 60. You can look at a lot of Steam reviews for the PC version. Same thing. Even people with 4090s are having issues, so the optimization needs some work. Yeah, so keep that in mind. All in all, I would say this game is worth taking a look at if you're a fan of these types of games. If you're a fan of these types of games, I think the game probably still is worth the price at $60. Otherwise, I would say maybe wait until it goes on sale. This is probably Trice's last game with everything that's been going on, so we shall see what the future holds for the Star Ocean franchise. But I had a great time in the game, and I would probably give this a solid 8 out of 10 overall. I say solid, and then I was like, is this a 7.5 or is it 8? I'd probably give it an 8. And in terms of my rankings, I would still put this below 2 and 3. Probably above 1. I played 1 though a long time ago on an emulator, so I didn't play like the remaster of it. First Departure. Played that on an emulator a long time ago, and it was okay. It was too, for me, 1 was too old school. I think probably when I played it. 2 is my favorite, 3 is a close second, and I'll probably put this one, and then 5, very, very, very in the back. Again, like I said, I didn't play 4, so. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you'd like me having videos run in the background. I did want to have audio, or at least a little bit of sound, but I need to get that fixed. So, yeah. See you guys next time, and thanks for watching.